Hello, we're live. If you can see me, give me a wave so I know that this is working. Give me a little hello or a little like or love. And yay, people are watching. Hi, Chaz. Hi, Ellie. Right, okay, so morning, Chanel. Right then, so fingers crossed for good internet connection, so I don't fizzle out or anything. And if technology doesn't work well for us this morning, then I'll just end the video and start it again. So just hang around. If we have any issues, I'll be back again. My mum's just messaging me, how do I join the live video? I'm doing it right now, so I can't answer her. Hang on a sec. I just messaged her back. Okay, so I'm just going to very quickly let my mum know to go to the event. Go. Right, okay. So, first things first, for everyone who is already watching, I'm sure more people will kind of like join in as over the next few minutes, but I'm just going to start talking anyway. First things first is a big, massive well done to everybody for surviving this week, because it's been a bit crazy. And also a big well done for deciding to learn a new skill, because that is self-care, and I think any form of self-care deserves a big round of applause. So massive well done to all of you guys for that as well. So one thing that I always say whenever I'm about to start a new session, oh hello mum, she found it, when I'm about to start a new session, is that everybody learns at a different rate. So when we're like in a group situation, some people will pick it up much quicker than others, and that's okay, that's normal. That's not an opportunity for anyone who's taken longer than the next person to give themselves a hard time about it. So, hi Angela. So don't beat yourself up if you find it tricky. It's a new skill and that's okay. The sun's just come out, so I might have to close the blind. I'm in my bedroom. I was going to do this in the living room, but then that meant that the kids and Dan couldn't use the living room. So I'm just going to shut the blind so it's not quite so bright. We can always open it back up again if we need to. Okay. So, yeah, as I was saying, everybody picks things up at a different rate. I'm going to do my absolute best. Obviously, in a group situation, I know how everyone's getting on, so I can tailor what I'm doing to them, but I don't know how you'll be getting on. So I'm going to be going, I'll go as slowly as I possibly can, and I'll also do it a few times to give you, so that you can see it, an example of it a few times. But if you get really stuck and you can't keep up, don't panic, don't beat yourself up about it. I'm going to save this video and post it afterwards so you can always watch it back. And then I can also help people remotely as well, so you can take a picture of what you've done and send it to me. And then I can let you know what to do next. So, but do your best to keep up at the same time if you can. And like I say, I'll do my absolute best to make sure that I go at a pace that as many of us as possible can keep up with. So yeah, so I think it's probably best if we just crack on and start crocheting, and then yeah, so we're going to start off with a slip knot. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys to do is a slip knot, to put a slip knot on your hook. So if you already know how to do that, just go ahead and do it, because if you watch me do it when you already knew how to do it, sometimes it just overcomplicates things and then all of a sudden you realise you can't do it anymore. I often find that when I'm teaching people to do a slip knot, I'm like, I don't even know how to do it anymore. So if you know how to do a slip knot, put a slip knot on your hook now. If you don't know how to do a slip knot, I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so bear with. This is my ceiling. And this is my floor. Okay. Right. Okay. So we want to make it so that you can see my hands, which we can, and I can bring them closer. Yep. Okay, so we're good. Bear with me. Okay. Right, so I've got the, can you see my hands? I've got the video running on my laptop as well, but I don't know if we're, oh, there we go. Gosh, it's quite far behind. Anyway. Right then, so slip knot on your hook. So I had a sip of my coffee. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my purple again, because I'm going to do a rainbow one like this. So this is what we're going to learn how to make today. Okay. So yeah, this is what we're going to learn how to make today, is a rainbow granny square. And with a rainbow granny square like this, you could just carry on getting it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Or you could make lots of these and then join them together. So I'll do a little live video on joining them together, maybe tomorrow or the next day or something like that. So for anybody who decides to do squares and join them together. I noticed the other day that I've made a little mistake here as well, which is always quite fun. So when you make a mistake, hi Nick, when you make a mistake, I think in crochet, it's nice because then it shows that it's not factory made. So I don't even give myself a hard time about making mistakes. I just leave them there. Hi Jackie. Right, I'm so excited to see all you lovely peeps here. And right, so let's go. So I'm going to do put my slip knot on my hook with my purple. I'm going to start with my purple. Okay, so to do a slip knot, I'm going to give you a few like demos of this, nice and slowly, and then see how we get on. So you want to get the tail end of your yarn in your hand so that it's dangling down here like this. And then I'm going to wrap it around my fingers and put it behind the first one. So it's not like that, it needs to go behind that one, because then you're going to use your hook to go underneath and pick that up. Okay. Right. So I'm going to hook that through, and I'm going to do that. That's not what I was supposed to do. I'm distracted by the fact that somebody's just rang me. I'm pretty sure that somebody who wants to join in on this video was just ringing me, and it's Dan's mum. So I'm going to go and tell Dan to ring his mum and tell her that I'm in the middle of a live video, so I couldn't answer my phone. Bear with. Dan? Dan? Can you ring your mum and tell her I'm in the middle of a live video, so I can't answer my phone? Okay. Right, so slip knot. Sorry guys about that. I know I was doing a magic circle, Kaylee. That's obviously the next lesson. So anyway, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook. It's quite similar to a magic circle, which is why I ended up doing that. So slip knot on your hook. You want the tail end dangling down in your hand, coming out of the bottom like that. Wrap your yarn around, put it behind. So you've got this one here is already around your fingers. You want this second wrap to go behind that one so that you can then go underneath, hook it through like that. And then if you take your fingers out and pull it tight, you've got a slip knot on your hook. Okay, so I'm going to do that again a couple of times, and then we can move on to our chain stitch. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around my fingers, put the second wrap over the back, go under the first one, hook the one from behind, take your fingers out and pull it tight. And then you've got your slip knot on your hook. Okay, one more little demo for you. Wrap it around, pop that under there, hook that through, and then you can pull it tight, and then you've got your slip knot. So the slip knot, you can kind of move it bigger and smaller, which is what makes it a slip knot. So I've now got my slip knot on my hook. So for everybody else who's got the same, we are now going to learn how to do a chain stitch. And we need 6 chains to start our magic circle. And those 6 chains that we're about to do now are going to form this middle bit here. So underneath our stitches is a circle of 6 chains. Okay. So to do a chain, all we want to do is hook our yarn and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. So we're going to be holding the hook in one hand, like this. And there shouldn't be anything else in that hand, it should just be the hook. And then in the other hand, you're going to hold your working thread, your working yarn, and your work that you've done out, which at the moment is just a knot, but as it gets bigger, you'll be holding onto a blanket eventually. So you've got your slip knot on your hook. I've done one chain, I'm going to show you another one now. So you're going to hook your yarn and hook it through the loop that's on your hook. So when it comes to crochet, a lot of the movement and the work is all done with the hook. So you actually turn your hook. So rather than feeling like you want to wrap things over with your fingers and your hands like this, and then just kind of like trying to get it through like that, it's all about moving this hook to manipulate it to get it to go where you want it to go. So if we're hooking the yarn through, the way it tends to fit through the loop that's on your hook absolute best is when you turn your hook down. So if you're finding it tricky to get your hook through a loop, then if anyone's messaging me at the moment for help, I can't help you via message at the moment because I'm live videoing on my phone, but I can help you afterwards. So I've just done lots of chains just for lots of demos for you, but I'm going to come back down to here. So we want 6 chains. So to see how many chains you've got, so I'm going to do 1, I've already got, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you have a little look at that, you can see that you've got these kind of like little V shapes. So there's a V, there's a V. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Right, I've got somebody messaging me saying, how do I watch the crochet? So just bear with me a second. I'm going to see if I can quickly copy and paste the link for them. I can't do it. I don't know how to use, I'm not very good at using Facebook on my laptop anymore because I only ever really use it on my phone, and I can't work out how to get to my messages on Ray's Room via my laptop. So Suzanne Riney, R-I-N-E-Y, if anybody knows that person, can you copy them a link to this event? I'm just going to have to carry on and then I'll share the video with them afterwards. Right, okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I'm going to just come back to here and give you another little demo. So I've already got 1 chain there. I'm going to yarn over and pull it through the loop that's on my hook, yarn over, pull it through the loop that's on my hook, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my last one. So if we've got our 6 chains like that, then the next thing we want to do is join these 6 chains. If yours looks slightly different to mine, that's not a big deal. If it looks a bit looser, or if it's too tight, the hole will be quite small. So but if it's a bit looser, then that's fine. And also, to start with, your tension will be inconsistent. So you might have some chains that look loopier and some chains that look tighter, and that's okay. So don't worry about that at this stage. That will all start to even up as you get used to holding the yarn and the thread. So we've got 6 chains. I'm watching this through my video, which is why I'm being a bit candid with it. Right, okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chains on my hook. And next, I want to join them together to turn them into a little loop. So we want them to be a loop like that. So I'm going to create that loop, what we want to do is a slip stitch. So what I'm going to show you now is called a slip stitch. And we use slip stitches in crochet to either join something together or get from one place to another without creating any bulk. So it creates a join, or it moves you along without actually creating much of a stitch. So in this case, we want to put our hook through the first chain that we did. So we've got the last chain that we did is right next to us on the hook here. The first chain that we did is down here. You want to push your hook through there in any way you can. So just push it through. I've just gone through one strand. And then hook your working yarn, pull it through to the front and through the loop that's on your hook. And that's a slip stitch. So it's kind of joint your loop together. So then you've got this little circle. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. So we have got 6 chains and we want to join them together with a slip stitch. So I'm going to put my hook through the first chain that we did. So just push it through any old how, hook that yarn, pull it through and through the loop that's on your hook, and then that will give you a little slip stitch. Okay, and that joins your loop, joins your chains together to form a loop. So now we've got this loop, we now want a chain of 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So now what we should have is a circle with a little stick coming out of the top. Like that. Okay, so we've got circle and a little stick coming out of the top with a chain, which is a chain of 3. So our 6 chains are here in the circle, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 chains coming from the top there. Okay. So from here, the next stitch that we're going to learn is a treble, and there's quite a few steps to a treble crochet. So I'm going to have a sip of my coffee and then we'll crack on with our treble. Right. I'm sat on the floor, so I'm all a bit crooked. Okay. So here we have it. We're going to try a treble now. So in crochet, we either stitch into the top of stitches or into spaces, and in pretty much all of what we do with a granny square, we are putting our stitches in spaces, and our space that we're going to stitch into at the moment for this first round is here, right in the middle of this hole. So for a treble, we're going to do yarn over. We're going to put our hook in through the middle circle and hook that working yarn and pull it through to the front, so you've got 3 loops on your hook. Okay, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So those are the steps of a treble crochet. So we're going to do them again. So we're going to yarn over, put your hook in through the middle circle and pick up the yarn and pull it through to the front so you've got 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, you're going to pull through 2, and you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And then that completes another treble. So I've got this chain of 3 just here, which is our first. This is it's going to kind of act like the first treble in this cluster of 3, which will make a bit more sense in a minute. So chain of 3, then we've got 1 treble there, and then we've got another treble just there. Okay, and I'm going to pull my stitches back a bit along the circle so they kind of sit neatly together. So this is what we've got now. It kind of looks like a diamond ring. I've only just thought of that. So yeah, got your little circle and then you've got your little cluster of 3 there. Okay, so once you've done that, if you haven't got your head around the treble yet, that's fine. I'm going to show you some more demos now as I work my way around this first row. So what we've just completed here is this. So this here was our chain of 3, and then the 2 trebles that we've just done, and then the circle is in here. So this is it. Okay, so that's what we've done so far. We're now going to work our way around here to get in 3 there, 3 there, and 3 there. But to separate them, we need a chain of 2. So I've got my first cluster. I'm going to do a chain of 2. 1, 2, and that's going to be my corner. And now I'm going to go back in through this circle. So in here for my next treble. So yarn over, put your hook into the circle, hook the yarn and pull it through to the front. So you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then I like to pull my stitch back a bit so it sits neater. So I've got 1 treble there. I need another 2 to finish this cluster. And then I'm going to need another chain of 2. So we'll do that together now. Yarn over. So this is another treble we're doing now. So I've yarn overed. I've put my hook into the middle circle. I'm going to hook that yarn, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got another treble now. Then we're going to go yarn over for another one, put our hook into the middle circle, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front so that we've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we've got another treble. So with our first cluster, we had a chain of 3, which is this one here, and that gets us up to the height that we want to be at before we then do 1, 2 trebles, and they all sit together and they look like a little cluster of 3 trebles. Then we've got our chain of 2 just here in the corner, and now we've just done another 3 trebles. And if you can see this, now you might do your stitches and you might look at them and go, oh, it doesn't look anything like yours, or it doesn't look anything like it's going to be a square. The reason mine does is because I'm kind of pulling it about a bit and I'm kind of manipulating it to be in the shape that I want it to be in. So I like to pull my stitches back along the circle so that they sit neatly next to each other, and I give the corner a little tug so that makes it a bit more squared. So now you can see I've got half of this purple section. So that's there, like that. So I've got my 3 there, and then a chain of 2 for a corner, and then 3 there. So now we're going to make our way around here to do this one and this one, and then we're going to join it to there, and then that will be our first row finished. So this also is an opportunity for me to demonstrate some more trebles for you. So I'm going to carry on around my purple row doing the trebles. And And so that will give you a chance to see me doing the trebles again if you're working on that still. Okay, so from where I am now, so I've done a cluster of 3. I now need to do a chain of 2 for my corner. Okay, and next I'm going to do another treble. So I want a cluster of 3 trebles now. So yarn over, put my hook into the middle, hook the yarn and pull it through to the front. So I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's that one. And as you can see, I pulled it back again so it sits a bit neater next to the others. So now I'm going in for another treble. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to put our hook into the middle circle, we're going to hook the yarn and pull it through to the front, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to do the same again. Yarn over, put our hook into the middle circle, hook the yarn and pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's our 3rd treble of that cluster done. So now we've just got one more cluster to do on this side, and then that will be a complete 4 clusters and 4 corners. So we've got a chain of 2 for our corner, 1, 2, and then we're going to yarn over. We're going to put our hook into the middle, hook the yarn and pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So yarn over, put our hook into the middle circle, hook the yarn and pull it through to the front. So we've got 3 loops on our hook, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we've got 2 trebles together, so we need one more to finish our cluster. So yarn over, pop our hook into the middle, hook that yarn and pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we want a chain of 2. Okay, so now all we need to do for this round is join that corner to there. Okay, so in order to do that, we want another slip stitch, which was what we joined our loop together with. So we joined our loop together with a slip stitch at the beginning, our chain of 6. So now we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that we did at the beginning to create that first pretend treble there. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to push my hook. So how you get your hook in here at the moment isn't really all that important, because once all of your other stitches are in place, it's going to look the same regardless of how you go through this chain. If you go through the chain in the way that I often try to, it is quite fiddly. So, and especially when you're first starting out, you might just be better off just to push your hook through and go from there. So you would count up from the bottom, 1, 2, 3. So this is my 3rd one, so I'm just going to push my hook through. Push my hook through that chain, hook the yarn, pull it through and through the loop that's on your hook, and that's a slip stitch. So I've just gone into a little bit of the chain, which does look a little bit baggy like that. So I normally try to go under the top 2 layers of the chain, but that can be quite tricky, especially at this stage and when you're trying to watch it on a video. And it won't really make any difference. Once your other stitches are in place, it'll all look perfect anyway. So I'm going to come back out and I'm going to show you guys what I mean for anybody who does want to know what I'm on about here. So there'll be people watching who have done the granny square before or know how to, but there's sort of finer details that they want to be a bit more sure about. So I'm going to show you that now. So where I would normally try to go under, which I think creates the neatest finish, and you don't get any kind of pull, is you got 1, 2, 3. So this is my 3rd stitch, my 3rd chain at the beginning. I would go under there and there, and that's where I would normally go under on a chain to slip stitch into. So So if you can get it under those top 2 strands of your chain, then that's a nice neat way to join it. But if you just find that too fiddly at this stage, or that chain that you did at that point was really tight and you just can't get under it, it doesn't really matter. As long as you just get your hook in there somehow. You could even go into that gap, and once the rest of your stitches are in place, it'll close that gap up a bit. That does give you a bit more of a space in between your stitches though. So I'm going to show you where I try to go into. So I'll go under there and under there. So that is, and I know this is hard for you to see, so I'm sorry. It's a bit fiddly as well. So that's me going into the optimum place that I would like to go into. Under there, and then pull that through there. But if you can't go under those top 2 strands because it's too fiddly, don't worry, just get your hook in there however you can. Push it through that 3rd chain up. So 1, 2, 3, just there. So I'm just going to show you that one more time because I've done a lot of rambling in between all of that, which might make it difficult for you to, if you're learning fresh, to know what on earth I'm on about in terms of the actual slip stitch itself. So I'm back to the point where, in fact, I'm going to undo those 2. I'm back to the point where I've finished my last 3 trebles. Okay, so last 3 trebles in this round are done. Now we want our corner. So we've got 1, 2 chains for a corner. And now I want to join that chain to the top of there. So getting your hook in there, into that chain however you can, into that top chain, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. You can do that in 2 steps or in one smooth motion. Either way, you want to bring it through them both so that you get a nice neat little slip stitch. So once you've got your slip stitch there, that now joins up this round for you. So you've completed a first round of your granny square. So I like to give my corners a little tug at this point. You might be looking at it thinking it looks round. So if you pull your corners, then it will look more square. And as you can see, that's the middle of there. So for anyone who's not at this point and you're working on your middle, on this round still, you want, so we did our chain of 3 just here. Then we did 2 trebles and then we did a chain of 2. Then we did 3 trebles and a chain of 2, another 3 trebles, a chain of 2, another 3 trebles, a chain of 2, and then we slip stitched into the top of that chain of 3 that we did to start with. Okay, so that is our very first round of our rainbow granny square. So once you've got that, you can fasten off. And fastening off is just cutting your yarn about that long. And then get your hook into your loop and hook that yarn and pull it through the loop and then pull that tight. And that is fastening off. Okay, so you've now got your first round of your rainbow granny square and we can now move on to our second round. So I'm just going to move a little bit because my feet have gone dead. So next you want to choose your next rainbow colour. So this one that I'm doing now, I'm going to do it exactly the same as my demo one here, so it's not confusing for you guys. And I think what I'm going to do with my rainbow is make a few this size and then a few some other sizes and maybe some where the rainbow is in a slightly different, like the same combination but starting with a different colour. And then I'm going to join them all together at the end. Once I've done them, join them all together into one big like patchwork kind of blanket. But you could just keep going bigger and bigger and bigger, as I mentioned at the beginning. You just keep adding rounds and rounds and rounds until it gets bigger, until it gets as however big you want it to be. You could just do, you could stop at row 4 or 5 and make smaller squares and join them together. So yeah, in terms of joining together, I'm going to do another little demo on that over the next few days. So if you are somebody who wants to join squares together, then keep an eye out for when I'll be doing that, and I'll announce that over you know, a bit later on today or tomorrow or something. And then if you just want to, for me, I think the absolute best way to learn is just to keep on making your granny square bigger and bigger and bigger, because it helps you to get your tension, and it's just a great way to practice doing the same thing over and over and over again. But also the nice thing about making smaller squares is that you get the practice of the starting off bit loads of times, because very often people learn to start it off and then make the blanket really big, but then they can't remember how to start it off again. So if you were to make loads of little squares, then you're getting that first practice, that practicing of the very start bit loads and loads of times. So yeah, it's up to you, whatever you fancy creating. Right, so next we are going to do, I'm just going to quickly open the blind to get a bit more light on the situation now the sun's gone behind the clouds. Okay, so our next round, I'm going to use this light blue. So once you've fastened off and you've got your first one like that, you're then going to get your next rainbow colour, and you're going to get a slip knot on your hook again. So just like we did at the start, pull that tight. Okay, so now I've got my slip knot on my hook. I'm going to join it to one of my corners. So now, whereas before we were doing all of our stitches into this middle space, now all of our stitches on this round are going to go into these corner spaces, which you can see just here. So my light blues go into that corner, that corner, that corner, and that corner, and that's what we're going to do here now. Okay, so to start off the round, we're going to attach ourselves to our granny square by putting our hook, so we've got our slip knot on our hook, we're going to put our hook into one of our corners, doesn't matter which one you choose, hook your yarn, pull it through to the front and pull it through the loop that's on your hook, so it's like a little slip stitch, and that joins you on, and then from there you want a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, okay. From there we're now going to do our treble. So we want 2 trebles to complete this cluster, because we've got this chain of 3, which is pretending to be the first treble in the round. And then this, for anybody who's still working on or trying to perfect their trebles, I'm going to do these nice and slow again for you to demo the treble for you. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to pop our hook into the hole, we're going to hook the yarn, pull it through to the front, so we've got 3 loops on our hook, we're going to yarn over, we're going to pull through 2, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that's 1, and then we're going to do another one, so yarn over, put our hook into the hole, that sun's coming back out again, so pull through to the front, so you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there we go. Now we're going to do a chain of 2 because we're on a corner. So 1, 2. So that's going to be our corner space. So that chain of 2 that we've just done is underneath there. So our next round of stitches are going to go into it. So chain of 2 for our corner, yarn over, going back into the same place. So back in that same hole now, just here, for 3 more trebles. So yarn over, pop our hook in there, hook that, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we've got 1 cluster, chain of 2, and now we've got 1 treble on its own, so we need another 2 to complete this cluster. So yarn over, pop our hook into that space, same space still, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again, yarn over, hook into the space, hook your yarn, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. So now we're on an edge space. So the edge space is along here. So every time we've got an edge space all the way along here, as opposed to a corner. So on an edge space, we want a chain of 1. So we're going to do a chain of 1 now, like that. Okay, and now we're going into this corner. So we've done all of our stitches that we want in that first corner. We've done a chain of 1 for our edge space, and now we're going into this corner here for another 2 clusters of 3 like that. Okay, so next corner along, we're going to yarn over and we're going to put our hook into that next corner along. We're going to hook our yarn, pull it through to the front. Sorry if this keeps going out of focus. I'll try and keep as still as I can. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then again yarn over, pop our hook into that space and hook the yarn, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2. And very often at this point, this can be a stage at which when I'm teaching members in a group, that we can kind of quite often find it difficult to get our hook through the hole. So what you'll notice while I'm crocheting is that my hook is moving all the time to get it to the point where it kind of comes through where I need it to come through as easily as possible. And also my hook is moving all the time to do the hook in, rather than me going like that and wrapping things around. We are using the hook to do all the work. So the hook is moving. So if I keep my hook in this position and I go like that, it won't necessarily hook on and hold on properly. But because I turn it down like that, it helps it to kind of come through nice and easily and hold on to it. So, and again, the other thing in relation to this is, in relation to what I was just saying, is that whether you put your hook in front of the yarn and hook the yarn and pull it through like that, or whether you put the yarn in front of the hook will make a difference. So this, if you put your hook behind the yarn and try to hook your yarn over it that way, it is going to be really tricky to get it through that hole. It's going to want to keep slipping off like that. So what we want to make sure that we're doing is that we're putting our hook in front of the yarn and using our hook to hook it over. So hook in front of yarn, not the other way around. So like that, and then you can do that. Right, so I'm going to carry on with some nice treble demos to get us round our blue round, or whatever colours you're using. So yarn over, put that into there, hook that. Okay, so I've got 3 there now, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do a chain of 2 because I'm in the corner. Now I'm going to yarn over and go back into that same hole to finish this corner sequence. So hook that yarn, hook, pull it through 2, pull it through 2. So I'm going to do a nice slow treble demo again now. So we're going to go yarn over. We're going to put our hook into that hole. We're going to hook the yarn, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then the same again. Yarn over, put our hook into that corner space, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there we go. So we've round that corner now. So now from here, we're on an edge. So we need a chain of 1. And then we're going to go into our next corner, just here. That sun's coming out really bright again now. It's always good to feel a bit of vitamin D on the skin, but it does make it harder for you guys to see it. Okay, I'm just fidgeting a minute because if I'm getting a bit sore backish. Right, okay, I'm back. Okay, so we're going to do our next 2 corners now. So yarn over, put my hook into there, So that's that next corner now, because we've done 2 clusters of 3 in that corner, 2 clusters of 3 in that corner. So now we're going to do 2 clusters of 3 in this corner, and they need to be separated by a chain of 2. So yarn over, put the hook into there, hook the yarn and pull it through to the front. So you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to do another nice slow treble demonstration for you. Yarn over, hook into that same space, hook your yarn and pull it through to the front. So you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to do a chain of 2 for our corner, 1, 2. And then we're going back into that same space for another 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. And now we're on an edge, so we need a chain of 1. And then we're going to go into our next corner along, which is over here. So this one. And we're to do the same as what we've done in those other corners. So we've got a corner sequence there, corner sequence there, corner sequence there. So we need now to finish off with another corner just there. Oh, my back. Right. Okie dokie. So we're doing our trebles again. So into there. There's one treble. And then yarn over. Pop my hook in there. Pull it through to the front, so you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Same again, yarn over, pop your hook into there, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front, so you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to do a chain of 2 for our corner, and then we're going to do our last cluster of 3 in this round. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so an edge now. So we're on an edge. So for an edge, we want a chain of 1. And now we're going to do what we did last time when we finished our round. We're going to do that slip stitch into the top of our chain of 3 from the beginning of the round. We're going to do a slip stitch in there to join this round together. So the same as before, if you can just push your hook through that chain. That sunshine is so bright. Might need to shut the blinds again if it sticks around. Yeah, so push your hook through that chain of 3 for a slip stitch. If you can. Sorry, I know I'm moving a lot, which is making it hard for you guys to see. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go under there, hook that, and pull it through the loop that's on my hook, and that is another slip stitch. So that has joined your next round together. So now we need to fasten off like we did before. So we want to fasten off about that length, like that. Pop that back over there. And then to fasten off, remember once you've cut your yarn, you need to hook it, pull it through the loop and all the way through like that. So it comes all the way through and then pull it tight. There we go. And now you've got your second row of square, which is like that. So now we're going to move on to our next colour, which is our round 3. And for me, that's a dark blue. I am loving using these rainbow colours, and I know everyone's been trying to brighten things up and cheer things up with lots of rainbows recently, which was why I thought it would be a brilliant time to do a free, little tutorial on a granny square, but also make it rainbow themed, because I quite fancy the idea of having something rainbow to commemorate this time that we've spent at home, because life is so different at the moment. Like, although I'm at home a lot, my children normally go to school and Dan normally goes to work. So being at home all the time as a family of 4 has gone much better than I was expecting it to so far. So I'm feeling really, really good about that. But I think it's really nice to have a little a memento of the time that we've been here home together. And also yesterday I wrote a pattern for a little rainbow decoration that you can hang in your window. So I'm thinking of doing another live like this over the next few days or at the same time next Sunday to make a little rainbow window decoration. So yeah, if you want to follow along with that like this, then yeah, keep up to date by having a little look on the Ray's Room page. If you follow Ray's Room, so you can follow Ray's Room on Instagram and Ray's Room on Facebook. To find them on either, you just need to type in the search field at Ray's Room UK, and then the Ray's Room pages will come up. And then if you like the Ray's Room page, then you'll be able to keep up to date with when I'm going to run little live sessions like this. Because I just thought it'd be a really nice thing to do during this time that we're all stuck at home and I can't run my crochet classes in groups, to share some nice little bits of inspiration and skills with you guys so that you can do these sorts of things at home as well. Right then, so let's move on to round 3. I've got a dead foot, so I'm going to have to move again. And I'm going to shut the blind again so that the light's a little bit more even on the video for you. Not that I want to be shutting out the sunshine, but we want to be able to see what we're doing, don't we? Okay, so next thing to do, if you're with me and we're on round 3 of our rainbow, we are going to get our next colour on our hook with a slip knot. So like we did at the start, we've got our slip knot on our hook, and now we need to attach it to our blanket that we've started so far. So just stretch my leg out. Okay. So I'm going to join on this edge here. So you basically just want to join on an edge. Some people like to join on a corner. I generally like to join on an edge. So I'm going to go here. Hello to everybody who's watching, by the way, everyone who's joined in since I said hello at the beginning. I hope you're all well and enjoying your time at home and getting a bit more time to do some crochet. Okay, so I'm going to join on here on this edge. So we join on by putting our hook into the edge space, hooking the yarn, pulling it through to the front and pulling it through the loop that's on our hook, and that gives us a little slip stitch which joins us in place. And then from there we're going to do 1, 2, 3 chains. So we've got our chain of 3. Okay, from here we now need 2 trebles. So we're going to go yarn over, put our hook into that same space, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front. So you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1 treble. And then yarn over, put our hook into the space, pull the yarn through to the front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our first edge space, our first edge cluster. And if you have a look at this one, you can see that what we have got here, is this. So that one that we've just done is there. So that's that one there. Okay, so one edge cluster on this round, and then you've got your corners as well. So on each edge you've got one cluster, and then you've got your corners. So one cluster there, and then there's corners, and then every row it gets bigger by one cluster on the edges. So at the moment we're doing a lot of corners in comparison to edges, but as it gets bigger, your corners will obviously only come in, you'll only get 4 in every row, but in between you get this, lots and lots of edges. Do you turn your work from stopping to stop it from looking twisted? No, I don't ever turn my work. This one's just to point out I've gone wrong here in the corner, but we can ignore that for now. But yeah, I've just not got a full corner there. But no, I don't turn my work to stop it from looking twisted. I do a lot of like pulling it about a bit like this, blocking it if you need to. And then once you've got a full blanket, I don't find that it looks twisted at all. But I think that probably has got a lot to do with the fact that I do a lot of pulling my work into place. So I kind of manipulate it with my hands a lot like this. So this is the method that I use, and I always have. So, and also another thing that I quite often say when I teach my crochet groups is that I really avoid using terminology like doing it wrong. So nobody ever does it wrong. So there's so many different ways to do a granny square, and there's so many different ways to hold your Laura Dunn, yes, you'll be able to watch from the beginning. Once I've finished this live video, I will save it and post it to the event so everybody can watch it back. So you can go back to the beginning. But yeah, so I try my best to avoid terminology such as doing it wrong, because there are so many ways to do a granny square. There's so many different ways to crochet. There's different patterns that you can use in just to create the exact same thing, and everybody holds it differently. Yeah, it's everybody holds it differently. No one's holding it wrong. I like people to really, to feel empowered when they're crocheting and not feel like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. Quite often people come to my classes and say, oh, I tried to do it before, but so-and-so told me I was doing it wrong. No one's doing it wrong. This is how I do it. And there's loads of different ways to do it. And it's the same even with holding it. I think, some people hold their hook and their yarn like a knitter would. And while they're happy doing that and that works for them, that's not wrong. Sometimes people will get to the point where they say to me, do you know what? I think I might need some help with holding it differently so that I can crochet more efficiently or more easily. But yeah, that, and then, at that point, then we can have a little go at adjusting things. But yeah, no one's doing it wrong. So we've got this at the moment. We're now going to make our way around. Someone's just asked, what's the tidiest way to change colour? I believe that this is the tidiest way to change colour on a granny square. There's loads of different ways. Well, there's a few different ways to change colour in crochet. And for me, it absolutely depends on how you, on what you're actually doing. So what the piece of work is that you're doing, as to whether you're better off to fasten off and join on with a new colour, or whether you're better off to change colour as you crochet. Okay, so I'm going to stop answering questions just for a moment now so we can crack on and finish this round. And if anybody asks questions between now and the end of the video, they show as comments on the video so I can go through and answer all those questions afterwards for you. So yeah, so we've got this far. We've got our edge cluster, and going to pop my hook back in, and we're going to carry on with our rainbow granny square. So from where I am, I'm on an edge, so I'm going from an edge to a corner, so I need a chain of 1, and then I'm going to yarn over, and we're going into this one now. So we've just done a cluster of 1 in the edge here. On a corner, we need 2 clusters of 3 separated by a chain of 2. On an edge, we just have 1 cluster of 3, and they're each separated by a chain of 1. So I'm going to yarn over and go into this next corner for a treble. Yarn over, put your hook into the corner space, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front so you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pop your hook into the space, hook the yarn, pull it through to the front so that you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, because we're on a corner, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over, pop your hook into the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to finish those 2. Okay, so that's that corner. Now we're on an edge, so we need a space of 1 and a cluster of just 3 in this edge space. So yarn over, and then we're going to go in there for a treble, another treble, and another treble. Okay, so we've got our edge with 3. Then we want another chain of 1, and now we're going into our next corner to do the same as what we did back in this corner. So 3 trebles, chain of 2, 3 trebles, all in this same corner space. So for anyone who's finding that I'm going a bit fast now, you can watch this video back. I do the trebles much, much slower and loads of examples of them earlier on in the video. So when I've finished, I'll post this video and you'll be able to watch it back and see the treble slower. Okay, so now chain of 1, because we're on an edge, and because we're on an edge, we also want just 1 cluster of 3 in this edge. So we're going in here for a 1, 2, and a 3. Then we want a chain of 1 because we're still on the edge, on our way to the corner. So we're going into the corner now to do the same as what we've done in the previous corners, which is 3 trebles, a chain of 2, and another 3 trebles in here, all in that same corner space. Okay, then we want to chain 1 because we're going on an edge, and we're going into our edge space for 1 cluster of 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3 on an edge, so we're doing a chain of 1, and now we're going into the corner to do what we've done on the previous corners, which is a cluster of 3 trebles, a chain of 2, and another cluster of 3 trebles, all in the same corner. So 1, 2, 3, chain of 2, 1, 2, and then back in that same corner for 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we need to join that we want our chain of 1 because we're on an edge. So chain of 1, and then we need to do that slip stitch that we've been doing to join our rounds together in the top of the chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, we're going to go into this chain for a slip, little slip stitch. So that means pulling the yarn through and pulling it through the loop that's on the hook. Okay, so that's joined us together. And so now we've completed this round, we want to cut it off about that long. Oh, it's a bit longer than I would normally do it, but anyway, yarn over and pull it through that loop and then pull it tight, and that's us fastening off. So we've now got 3 rounds of our rainbow. What's the time? So we are about an hour now that we've been running this video. So we've got our 3 rounds. For anybody who picked up earlier on, you might be on more rounds than that by now. You might have moved on. I've got completely dead legs, so I'm just going to get the life back in my foot. Bear with. Okay, so what I want to do now, because I'm conscious that we've been running for a bit over an hour, so we might need to wrap things up in a minute, is to So just to make sure that we're happy to go forward now with our sequence, just want to run through what our sequence looks like for everybody, to get your head around and make sure that we're happy. So going forward now, you've got edge spaces, so here, and you've got your corner spaces here. So 4 corners, you'll always have 4 corners because it's a square. And then you'll always have, now each round, an extra edge space on each side. So with our sequence, how we're working is that in our edge spaces, we want a cluster of 3 trebles, and then we want a chain of 1 to separate it for an edge space, and then we'll go into our next edge space for another cluster of 3 trebles, then a chain of 1 to get to the corner, and then here in our corner we're always going to have a cluster of 3 trebles, a chain of 2, and another cluster of 3 trebles, all going into that corner. Then you come along to your edges again, so you want a chain of 1, 3 trebles in there, a chain of 1, 3 trebles in there, a chain of 1 to take you to the corner, and then when you're in the corner you've got those 2 clusters of 3 trebles separated with a chain of 2. So 3 trebles along the edge, all separated with a chain of 1, and every corner you want 2 clusters of 3 trebles separated by a chain of 2. Okay. Oh, Jane has just said, thank you so much. I now have a granny square. I've never been able to do it before. Yay, that's amazing. Okay, so that we can wrap this up, I won't go on to the next row. I feel like we've probably gone over those trebles quite well, and we kind of have got the idea of the sequence now. But what I just want to show you before we go, before we finish, is just sewing your ends in. So you want a darning needle, so something like this, so that's got like a big eye on it to get your yarn through. There's all different types of these. You can use plastic ones as well, so they'll work great for this particular job. And what we want to do is turn over our granny square onto the back, and what we'll have now for every round is we will have 2 tail ends that we want to sew in. Okay, so I'm going to start with this purple. When it comes to, oh, Heather just said, yeah, I have a rainbow square. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Keep going, keep making your rainbows bigger and share them. And when you share them on social media, so either on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever, tag Raise Room in it. So at Raise Room UK, and hashtag Raise Room Rainbows and Raise Room Crocheters, if you can. That would be amazing, because I really want to see them. I want to see what everyone's been creating, because then that will inspire me to do more videos like this. And I've got an awesome little rainbow pattern to actually make a little hanging rainbow that you can hang in your window, and I want to share that one with you maybe over the next few days or same time next week. Right, okay, so back to sewing our ends in. You want to get your end and you need to thread it. I'm doing this through my camera, which is why I probably look like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. I'm not looking through the camera now, I'm looking through my real eyes. My real eyes. Okay, so I've threaded my darning needle. And what we want to do is we want to try and get this nice and secure and hidden in here somewhere. So on this first round, I quite often use this beginning circle to hide my tail end. So I might go like this and then through there. And then we want to go back on ourselves, but not back through the exact same hole, otherwise it will just come straight through. Okay, and then back again, I generally would tend to go like that. Make sure it's nice and tight, and then can't see what I'm doing. There we go, trim. So there's that one done. And then you give it a little tug and the end just kind of gets lost inside. And then I'm going to show you. So what I would generally tend to do is lose a tail end in whichever colour it is. So when you're sewing in your purple ends, you want to sew it into a chunky bit of purple. And then the same with your blue. So when I'm sewing in my blue tail ends, this light blue, I'm going to want to sew it into the blue, a chunky bit of this blue, so that it's as hidden as possible, so you can't see it through it, so it's kind of camouflaged in there. So sewing colours into colours, and also you just want to try and make them as secure as you can. So when I first started crocheting, I just used to kind of like use my hook to kind of pull it through, and sort of like try and hide it inside or weave it through, and it like they would just start to come out really quickly. As you start to use your blanket, your ends will start to come out and show, or if you put it in the wash, then your ends will start to come out. So if you can do it like this with the needle, then it will make sure that they're nice and secure, and it's much less likely to create a hole in the wash or anything like that. So I'm going to do another one for you. So here is my light blue tail end. So I'm going to thread it onto my needle, like so. And then I'm going to go through here. So I'm basically like going in the middle of this bit. So if you can see, so where the stitches kind of like wrap around like that, you can kind of go through the middle of there. And then if you go like that and then go back on yourself, but miss out a little stitch, so it's got something to hold on to, if that makes sense. So like that. And make sure it kind of goes through quite solidly, so you're kind of going through fibres. So going through the fibres of the yarn with the point of your needle will make it even more secure. So I've gone back on myself 2 or 3 times there. Give that a little tug, and then again, we just want to trim that off like so. Okay, so then that's it really. You're going to do the same with all of them. So if I was over here, I might do this one in this bit here. And yeah, so just get it nice and secure in there. Sewing in colours into the same colours will help to camouflage them and hide them as best as possible. And then away you go. So I can't wait to see everyone's rainbows. I'm so excited by colour. I love seeing people's colour combinations and colour choices, seeing what you've come up with just from choosing yarns that you already had at home. So please, please, please do share your pictures of what you've been making, either in the comments on the video, or even better, share it on your social media and tag Ray's Room, at Ray's Room UK on Instagram and Facebook. Because then that will mean that I can keep up and see what you've all been doing. And also, if you've got any questions, you can share whatever it is that you're stuck on. So if you're stuck on part of your granny square and you're not sure what to do with it, take a picture of it and then share it on social media and explain what it is that you're struggling with. Tag Ray's Room, and then I'll help you that way as well, so I can answer your questions in that way. So yeah, I hope you've had a good time crocheting along this morning. I can't wait to see what you guys have all come up with. I'm going to carry on making this rainbow blanket, and watch this space for details of joining your squares together. So we can look at joining squares together. So, sorry, one of my children's just come in with a picture for me, I think, which is exciting. I'll have a look at that now. Yeah, so watch this space for instructions on joining squares together. If you're going to make multiple rainbow squares and you want to join them all together into one big blanket, then we'll do that together. And also I'd like to share with you a new pattern that I wrote, which is for a little rainbow that you can hang in your windows and that kind of thing. You're welcome, everyone. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Angela. I'm so glad you loved it. Yeah, I've loved it too, and I get so much from teaching crochet and teaching my little sessions that I teach as in groups so regularly keeps me inspired and keeps me excited about crochet. And so having not been able to do that the last few weeks has been sad. So it's amazing that I've been able to do it this way and that you've all crocheted along and that you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I look forward to doing it again soon. So I'll keep you all posted on that. You just make sure you share your projects with me and let me see them because I can't wait. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.